actually like holding the physical analog newspaper and having copies of those available. And at this point in time that's like so exotic to many of us who really engage with the New York Times in a screen-based capacity in a day-to-day way. And so one conversation that always comes up for them inside their reading groups is this kind of changing idea about media. What does it mean to consume all of our information online in this way? And I thought that would be a kind of great way to think about technology in relationship to feminism. And we will start the day off early at noon. We open the space and we'll actually have copies of the newspaper around that will be serving coffee so people can kind of come hang out and sort of catch up on the day's news before the reading group starts at 1:30. That happens in the afternoon is a 3D printing workshop called Feminist Reproduction. And the idea is what would it mean to explore the potential, the feminist potential of 3D printing. Of course, a lot of the things that we started to see in the mainstream media about 3D printing are very masculine portrayals about what its possibilities are. So there was this very famous article that was about, what will happen when everyone can 3D print their own guns, and I think it's really interesting to, this is a technology that is still arguably in a sort of early phase, still being like worked out and technically improved, and it's not like everyone has a 3D printer in their home by any stretch of the imagination yet, though I think that's a fantasy for some people of what will happen. But the idea is, well, what if you just started at an earlier moment in the development of this technology to think about what its feminist potential could be. So there's kind of two things that happen simultaneously there. So a woman named Mickey Foster is going to guide a 3D printing tutorial, and at the same time an artist collective known as the Feminist Economics Department, also known as the Fed, is going to ask us to consider what would it mean to try and produce an object with a 3D printer that articulates a very different logic of value from the feminist perspective. So there'll be kind of this performance happening around the making of this object together, and then actually very straightforward instruction about how to use the machine. So the idea is kind of looking back at sort of some of the early history of cyberfeminism. One early thing that happened that's been very interesting to me in my research is the way that women kind of collectivized to learn about new technologies together, to kind of share their knowledge and to teach one another about those kinds of things. So in a way it's sort of inspired by that same idea. 3D printing is a more recent technology. And so what if we got a bunch of women together and just kind of showed them what the possibilities are, got them comfortable with how to use the MakerBot. So that's kind of where the idea for that came from. Most of the work that I do here